approaching my 40s. I think I was 39, and I felt that was pretty old. Most Russians die at 56 or something. Among men, women live forever. The men die pretty early, and so that was a concern. And also, I thought, the older you get, the more you start to forget things. And I used a lot of drugs when I was a teenager to about now. So it was hard to remember that part of my life. And we had sort of focus groups where we would try to figure out what actually happens. I always thought that we had hijacked a train, a subway train, and taken it to the Bronx. But then somebody said, no, that was a movie we saw while we were tripping on acid.
Oh my God.
Reality and unreality had merged so successfully in my mind, which is good for a writer, but bad for a memoirist who's trying to write the truth.
Bad for nonfiction.
Nonfiction is bad.
Better?
Well, I don't know. I don't think books really help in a therapeutic way in any sense.
No?
I don't think so. I think you want to make it a work of art, but you don't. This isn't supposed to help anybody. It's like when my father asked, is this book going to be good for the Jews? I don't think books are really good for anything. They're just, it's a view into another consciousness, but I've never really improved from reading a book. It's a kind of, almost like a Star Trek Vulcan mind melt when you can enter the mind of another person. And what was interesting was after the book came out, I did 100 readings in America, going around this country, and there were a lot of people who would say, when you sign the book, there's a line, and people would say, I had the same background, but not necessarily in Russia. I grew up in Argentina or India or whatever. And he said, could you sign this book to failed paralegal or failed doctor, which is what their parents called them. So it was interesting to see the kind of universality of the experience. Sometimes native-born Americans as well, but mostly immigrants, because to immigrate already you have to be a very high-strung, high-powered person, and then you expect your children to do the same or better, so it creates a lot of expectations which are never met. Nothing's ever really solved. I think a lot of the problems that we inherit genetically or environmentally or parentally continue with us in one way or another for the rest of our lives. It just goes on, and then there are periods where it's higher and there's periods where it's lower, but the human condition is incurable, and a lot of it is inherited. The irony that comes from the fact that the world is almost like the sun, it's too bright to look at. You need some kind of filter, and that irony is the filter through which you see ever depressing events.